Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to tell you about a lovely spread. And as you can see, here we have some sage, a candle, and a bowl. Candles, I think, are very important in the winter because they stop you feeling like a victim, don't they? The victim of the darkness. So I'm going to talk about the 7 chakra spread. And this is quite difficult to fit on a table. But let me show you it. It's I've got here the lovely Luminash Tarot by Ashla Estrella. Gorgeous little minis. And it's just a 22 card tarot, and this is pretty good for the 7 chakra spread. And what you do is this: you put down 21 cards on the table, and that's 3 cards for each chakra. Now, if you're watching this channel, I'm assuming you know what a chakra is. It's not really within the remit of this video to explain the chakras. If you're not familiar with chakras, then Google them and have a look. So here's the spread. As you can see, this takes up quite a lot of room on a table, doesn't it? I don't normally do spreads with as many cards as this. I tend to prefer to have fewer cards on the table, sort of maximum 7, or really at a stretch 11 or 12. But this spread's a bit different. It's a bit like 7 little spreadlets, and I'll tell you what I mean. But for now, I'm going to flip the camera and you will have the unpleasant sensation of seeing 2 black lines down the side of the screen. But don't panic, this is important for now. You need to understand which way up this spread is. Okay, here we are again. Do not adjust your set. We now have a different camera style, but this is the point. That's the top of the spread. That's the bottom. So this is top chakra, the crown, I suppose. Number 2, third eye. Number 3, the throat. Number 4, the heart. Number 5, the solar plexus. Number 6, the creative center. Number 7, the base chakra. I'll turn them over so you can see the sort of thing you're likely to see. And here you have it. Isn't that lovely? The Ashla Estrella Luminash Tarot there, giving us our reading. And as you can see, there's a lot of information on the table. I don't particularly recommend this for a client, for a querent, because it can be quite overwhelming, either for you or for the client. You're going to be giving like 7 little mini readings here, 1 for each chakra. You know, each of these triads has got a story to tell about that person seen from the point of view of that chakra. You know, you could say, you know, number 4, this is a story to tell about what might be going on in that person's heart, or in that person's communicative life, maybe up here in that person's spiritual life, maybe here in that person's creative life, and maybe here in the realities of getting dinner on the table, or relating to one's ancestors or place of birth down here. You know, there's a huge amount of information on the table. But I will show you this, what we've got, in a bit more detail so that you can enjoy it and think about it a bit. And this is a cameraman's nightmare, this spread, because there are so many cards, and I'm trying to give it to you without going right out of focus or increasing the grain. Okay, there you can see the top 3 quite nicely. And so I'm just improvising here, and don't take me too seriously, but just to point out the sort of things one might see here, and the sort of things one might comment on. You know, that the most striking thing here is Maison Dieu, the tower in the crown chakra. Well, if lightning is going to strike you anywhere, that's a hell of a place to strike you, in your crown chakra, isn't it? So that really looks like a little bit of an illumination, a satori going on there, doesn't it? Third eye. Well, there's quite a lot going on the third eye. We've got a reversed Hanged Man, a Fool, and a Death card. It seems like there's quite a lot of change and strange influences and a bit of resistance going on there in that particular seeing part of the person's life. And here in the communication part, well, we've got, not to put too much into it, there's some strength and there's Empress, pretty strong there. Let's look at the lower chakras. I'm moving the table here. It's come to that, ladies and gentlemen. Your trusty cameraman is doing all he can. So here in the heart chakra, we've got the High Priestess, and we've got the World there, a feeling of completion and a rather interesting, we've got a High Priestess, which is a 2, and we've got, two people here having an interview with the Pope. It feels quite cozy, actually, in a way, I would say. Solar plexus, well, we've got the Star. There's sort of hope, isn't there? There's something to look forward to. And Hermit, which is quite similar to Star in a way, following one's inner light, but there's a funny little energy there as well. Selfishness in the solar plexus from the Devil. That seems quite provocative. The creative center, a great boost of energy there from Judgment, a bit of chaos there from the Wheel, and the reversed Emperor. That looks quite turbulent down in the creative center. And let's just have a look at the last one. Here in the base chakra, we've got a testing time, but it looks like it's going to turn out okay with a Sun and a Justice. So don't take this too seriously, my comments about these particular cards. I don't do this spread very much even for myself. I find it's a spread which deserves quite a lot of time and attention. It's not a spread that you do casually. It potentially has a lot of information. I would do it for myself maximum of once a year, but you could do it, once every 3 or 5 years. It feels like going to the doctor for a full checkup and a blood test, and you really get a snapshot of what's going on inside. And if you did it over the course of a lifetime, you could see how the different parts of you which develop and live alongside each other can change and develop and find their fulfillment at different rates and in different ways. Partly because I feel it's such a big and important spread to do, it feels appropriate to use a majors only deck. As it happens, this is a fantastic one because it's mini and it's majors only. It's pretty and it kind of fits onto the table. You probably noticed, if you're any good at mathematics, that there will be a 22nd card that does not feature. If you times 3 by 7, you get 21. So there'll be one at the end, and you could give this a symbolic value. Oh, look, and you could say that's what's missing overall. The Magician, whatever that means to you. It could be, missing energy or something like that. As with all these things, when you're bringing in another branch of knowledge, like there are some astrological spreads, aren't there? And in this one, you're playing with the concept of the chakras. You're using that in your tarot praxis. Well, in a sense, the spread responds to how much research or how much knowledge you've picked up along the way about the 7 chakras. And if you decide to do this spread, it might be a good moment to take 20 minutes and go online and read some people's ideas about what these chakras might mean in your life or how you can read them. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. You can't have too many spreads. I think spreads should be simple, and this one is simple in a way. It's just very ram full of information, and so do it with care, take time over it, and yes, you can do it for friends and querents, but make sure that they are really settled down and they don't mind if you take your time with the reading. Don't try to rush this. You could do one chakra at a time if you like, but don't rush through it. The other thing to say is, clearly you can also do it with 2 cards only per chakra. You can also do it with 1 card only per chakra. It begins to get a bit sketchy, but that's completely legit. Just follow your own taste, follow your own sense of what's appropriate at that moment, and that will be what's appropriate at that moment. Okay. So you have been watching The Hands of Robert Farrar, and the podcast called Tea and Tara, and I will be back with my hands next week with more of this stuff.